cold for justice is getting old. Just standing out in the cold for equity is getting old. And we stand here today to say enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
So today, this is the last of the Foundation Day roundtables. And when we as AQE heard that they were happening, we knew that AQE needed to have a presence in all of them. We knew we needed to ensure that equity work we have here was front and center. And that the many stories from parents, students, and educators of inequity in our public schools was heard and shared. Equally as important was the message that we must use the foundation formula and we must fund it. So shout out to Senator May and Benjamin for giving us the opportunity to do this, even if that wasn't the intention. All around the state, the message has been fund and use the formula. This is not just a New York City thing, this is a New York State thing.
Yes, yes.
This is an equity thing.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's time for us to fully fund Foundation Aid and bring equity to our public schools.
Yes, yes.
Did you know every year, instead of funding the Foundation Aid formula, New York State substitutes a temporary formula that leaves our schools underfunded and makes our students feel the impact. They call this temporary funding formula Foundation Aid. But guess what? It's Foundation Aid in name only. If it were really Foundation Aid, our schools would already be receiving almost $4 billion more than they are. The biggest problem, what we know with the formula, is that it has been underfunded.
Right.
So New York State owes public schools $3.6 billion in Foundation Aid, and every year the state comes up with, guess what? An excuse for not funding it. It's time to end educational racism in New York State.
That's right.
So I'm going to bring up to kick us off because it's cold, and I want to say how much we appreciate all the organizations and individuals on here standing with us once again to demand justice. But we're going to bring up Mr. Foundation.
Your destination is on the left.
Himself, Senator Robert Jackson.
Well, thank you, and good morning, everyone.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
What are you ready for? Foundation Aid, funding our schools. And when do we need it? Yesterday. We needed it yesterday. Now, yesterday was years ago. And the state of New York has not lived up to its obligation under the law. There was a lawsuit that was filed in 1993 where my daughter, Samaya Jackson, Asmahan Jackson, were plaintiffs in a lawsuit, and many other parents and many other groups and organizations, advocacy groups, basically saying that the state of New York was cheating our children in New York City out of billions of dollars. How much?
Billions of dollars.
You're right. And that lawsuit took 13 years. The bottom line is, we don't have all of the money that we're entitled to, that was agreed to by the then Governor Eliot Spitzer and the New York State Legislature. And that formula they put in place was, what's the name of it? Foundation Aid. What?
Foundation Aid.
And that Foundation Aid took into effect several things that our children needed. One, how many children are in need? Two, how many children are not receiving a sound basic education? So these are factors that were considered. In New York City, depending on who you ask and when you ask them, what year you ask them, the bottom line, New York City is entitled to approximately $1.5 billion. How much? $1.5 billion. The rest of the state of New York is owed money just like New York State.
That's right.
And in fact, with Billy Easton, who's here now, we went to Rochester, we went to Syracuse, we went to Schenectady, we went to Brentwood, Long Island, we went to other places to look at and talk to the superintendents and everybody like that. And everyone said they are suffering, that they need funding in order to provide the basic education that our children need. And I've said to parents, how many of you want your children to get a sound basic education? Don't raise your hand. And many parents, when I say that, they raise their hand because they believe that a sound basic education is a good education. And I say to you, it's not. It's the minimum standard that the state of New York must give our children under the law.
That's right.
Foundation Aid roundtables around the state. This one is going to be a hearing, and they want to hear from parents. Anybody here is a parent? Say yeah. Yeah. Say yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I want you to go up there and tell them how, by not funding the foundation aid, your school and your children are being negatively impacted. Is that all right?
Yes.
And I will be up there listening. Now, today, I say to you, the first of these 5 forums was in Yonkers. And we heard from superintendents and everybody else basically saying what the needs are. So you must clearly state what the needs are of your school and the needs are of your children. All right? So what do we want? And when do we need it? Now. What do we want? And who do we need it for? Who do we need it for? How much money? $4 billion. In unity.
Tax the rich! Fund their schools! 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 Tax the rich! Fund their schools!
So Robert said a really nice thing to bring up our young people who are experiencing exactly the impact of not funding our schools. So first I want to bring up Emma and Jace of Integrate NYC to share the story. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. How y'all doing today?
Good.
Sadly, Emma's supposed to be in school right now, but she's not. But she's here.
You're in school. Right? You're learning.
You're right. I'm from Integrate NYC, and so is Emma.
Hi, Emma.
I'm Emma. We both work at Integrate NYC. I'm supposed to be in calculus class right now, but instead I'm supposed to skip school because in order to get education justice, I was supposed to be in the brick-ass weather in the morning on a Tuesday.
Yeah!
And so when we talk about education justice and funding for our schools, in order to create real and transformative justice and changes in our education system, we need to be centering the voices of young people in this movement, centering the voices of the communities that have been marginalized, center the voices of the communities who have been profited upon, and so we are the young people who are directly experiencing this injustice. We at Integrate NYC often say we are the product of segregation, we are the product of under-resourced, underfunded, segregated schools. And so our voices need to be centered in this movement. And if you want to talk about resources.
Yeah, so our 5-hour platform involves resources, like she said, and resources like center around, yeah, I know you call them too. It centers around how the schools are funded, what schools are funded, and depending on like the ratios of the school, who's funded more, who's funded less, and who it affects the most are Black and brown students. Why in my schools was I forced to share textbooks with other students, but while in other schools with predominantly white and Asian students, they never had to share a textbook. They had more than I ever did.
And that ain't right?
That ain't right.
And that ain't right?
That ain't right. Why some schools have more sports teams than mine did? Why are Black and brown students already affected just because of the color of their skin?
And to Jason's point, Black and brown students are 3 times more likely to walk through metal detectors in their schools. So when we look at the disparities in these systems, why are we using the resources and funding for Black and brown schools on over-policing? That's where their resources and funding are going in those schools. So in predominantly white or Asian schools, the majority of our resources and funding are going to our education. And so where are we allocating this funding, and how are these communities who are impacted, who are the ones attending these schools, how are they deciding what happens to their funding? All right, thank you so much.
So we're going to keep this youth train rolling. I want to bring up Maya from Brotherhood Sisters Soul. Give her a hand. Come on, give it up.
Good morning, I'm Maya from the Brotherhood Sisters, so excuse my speech. I'm Maya Fortuna, I'm a student in the NYC, in the New York City public school, and I've seen and experienced the lack of student support staff in the school. I am a member of the Liberation Program of the Brotherhood Sisters, so, and our campaign focuses on increasing the funding for our schools as to hire more student support staff, which include guidance counselors, career counselors, college counselors, therapists, and social workers. We want our schools to reach a 1 to 100 ratio of student support staff to students. And we can do this if our elected officials choose to fund our schools. They say there's not enough funding to have adequate student support staff, but there always seems to be enough funding to hire more school safety agents in predominantly Black, brown, and low-income schools. I go to Pace High School, and we're considered a better funded school because for about 600 students, there is one college counselor, one social worker, and one guidance counselor. While I know I have more than many of the schools my peers attend, this ratio of students to student support staff is definitely not enough. Most especially when there are 4 to 5 school safety agents. Our education is more important than our incarceration. In many schools, there are more school safety agents than student support staff. In New York City, there are more school safety agents than there are guidance counselors and social workers combined. We are here today to discuss the cost of underfunding student support staff and of overpolicing. And the cost in our city is graduation and student success. With 1.1 million students, the benefits of properly funding our schools has to outweigh the cost of all of our futures. My school is not big compared to the other schools, but in order to speak to any of the student support staff, you either have to be a star student or get into a fight. It's either you're doing great in school or you're doing bad. All students should receive the support they need because that is what we deserve. With a 3.7 GPA, I had a chance to meet my school's college counselor my freshman and sophomore year, and that was because, as she said, I was on her radar. Meaning my grades were high enough to get recommended for certain programs. If I wasn't already doing well in school, I wouldn't even know who she is, and that is simply unfair. Additionally, now in my junior year, I have yet to have meaningful interactions with any of the other student support staff, and I could use their assistance. I aim to apply to attend to college in the near future, and I want to be supporting in doing so. As a first-generation college student and a first-generation Dominican American, this will be all the more difficult because given the lack of student support staff at my school. As someone who is privileged to know her college counselor, I will still have to chase her down because she has way too much on her plate with 150 students and 200 students to help. I will receive useful but rushed care when I need intentional insight and committed time. The lack of our schools adds stress to the life of students and the student support staff. When students need someone to speak to, there is minimal support, if any, because there's no time or they have to wait a long time because there's students ahead of them. How are we supposed to be in a good space mentally when we have very few people, if anyone, to go to? The lack of funding for our schools means that students don't have what they need to be successful, but we have more than what is needed to be pushed out of school. How are we supposed to graduate on time when the resources we need are not provided? Instead, our schools are filled with NYPD. The lack of funding for our schools is rooted in systemic oppression, and if we are a progressive city, our politicians should address this now, and our futures cannot be underfunded.